Hey, what's going on? Just out here on the lake getting a quick workout in on the kayak. Wanted to sit and talk real quick about a couple things that have been on top of my mind recently. And decided I'd come out here. The sun's starting to pop through the clouds, so it might be sun's out, guns out weather here in a minute, but we'll have to wait because there's still a lot of clouds covering it, so it might not be that time yet. But I'm hoping. I am just hoping. Anyway, so I guess I want to tell a quick story about two events that happened to me, one yesterday and then one last week, that kind of tied together that I think make a great teaching opportunity about your mindset and just how you look and how you think about problems that you're facing. So the other day I was out at a river up here in Oconee County, South Carolina, and I was meeting up with Project Healing Waters and then Ryan from the Upstate Warrior Solution, kind of meet those guys and do a little bit of fly fishing. And at one point I was sitting there, alone on this river, casting out my setup and just watching it drift, right? Early in the morning, it had been raining a little bit, completely relaxing day, had nothing else going on, but get this little bit of time I had to kind of enjoy this right now and meet some good people. And so I'm sitting there watching my indicator drift down this little river, right? Nothing going on, super quiet. And then all of a sudden, with that quiet and then disconnect from like the outside world and everything else that was going on in my life and around me, it was just kind of me alone with just this activity, right? Being completely present. I was in that moment. I had this total realization that my entire body was tense. I could just feel it. I could feel my chest. I could feel my lungs. It was just that inherent tension that I'm just carrying from all the stress that I have in everyday life. And so I kind of had a little light bulb go off and just made me think about how important it is to figure out something that works for you, whether it's doing some meditation, whether it's doing breathing exercises. You just gotta have something in your day to kind of just completely disconnect and check in on that tension level that you're carrying and just work on your breathing, just let it go. For me, I can do box breathing, kind of breathe in for 2 seconds, hold it for 2 seconds, exhale for 2 seconds, hold it for 2 seconds. For me, that cycle kind of helps bring me back in and release some of that tension. And you can really, your breath is really a good indicator of whether or not you're just holding unneeded stress and tension. So I kind of had that moment and I was like, I want to start incorporating that in my daily life as just part of my health routine and recovery routine. As just, you need that. You might not know that you're carrying that stress load, but you more than likely we all are. So it's something we have to be cognizant of and just make sure that we're taking care of that. So that we'll put that aside for a moment. And then yesterday I was getting ready for this land nav course, just making sure everything was in line for what I wanted to do. And this is kind of about expectations. So I have this idea of what I want to do based on what I have been doing, what's been working, and working in the area of where I've been doing it. And I'm going out to this new location, and the way that I saw it or pictured this class going down wasn't going to work with what I had to deal with the resources that were there, right? The terrain and the vegetation stuff just didn't work for what I want to do. And so that expectation right there made me so close-minded that like I couldn't see a solution while I was sitting there. The solution is right in front of me. It's not a lack of resources. This is a state park. There's resources here. I'm just not seeing them because of that mold and that structure that I created. So we've been talking about discipline and creating structures and your picture, your framework. You also have to kind of be willing to just let that go and approach a problem with an open mindset, to allow your mind to open up. Sometimes it's just, you got to look and see, take it in subconsciously, and then create an action plan without that predetermined outcome in your mind. That was what was hanging me up with what I had and what like my disconnect was. For special operations type stuff, I kind of fall back on if I training scenarios and then real life and stuff like that. If I started picturing the steps I was going to take, if I was picturing the problem in my head, it would screw me up when I got to that actual problem. So for me, I was a special operations medic. So it was, one of those terror moments that I hear on the radio is, they'd say my call sign and tell like, hey, we need you at building 3 or whatever it was. And right then I knew that it's like someone was hurt and something was going down. And so that whole time I'm running with like my team trying to get to that location to help that person, if I was trying to create a picture about what it was, when I got there, you'd have friction between the two, because what you're seeing wasn't what you pictured, and then in your mind, you just naturally start to put these steps that you're gonna do. It's like, I'm gonna get there, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z, and it almost turns you into a robot. And it turns you into a robot because you've drilled those mechanical processes so much that you can perform them without thinking. You see something, and you just instantly go into that mode to do it. We do this all the time. Like, how many of you out there have been going to the grocery store, and then all of a sudden you realize, like, you're driving to go pick the kids up at school, and you're like, where am I going? Like, I'm supposed to be at the grocery store, and now I'm sitting in front of school. It's that muscle memory that, or whatever you want to call it. I hate the term muscle memory, but it's just that groove that you've established for yourself that you're so used to that you just do it automatically at a subconscious level. So all these things for me are subconsciously, I can execute them because I've done it so many times. I've thought through that process so many times. What you actually have to do is disconnect at that moment from what you've been training, your systems that you've been working, those processes, the way you move, what you grab, what you do. And so when you get a new problem and it's right in front of you, do one of those breathing drills, recenter yourself, sit there, take some breaths, because you're gonna have tension, right? There's something going on that you have to solve and you have to fix, and you're not quite sure how to do it. So breathing, center, come back to the present, look at what you got. Analyze the situation, think about the available resources and what you can do, come up with an action plan, and then stabilize that problem. And then from there, once you kind of got it, you're under control, so it's not spiraling, getting worse, then you can come up with the next couple of steps, and then you'll get your plan together. But in order to do that, you've got to disconnect yourself. You got to disconnect that autopilot and what you're expecting, those expectations, drop them, see the problem, and then apply the tools that you put in your toolbox through training, through preparation, through all of that, and then use those to solve the problem as it comes. Remember, once you touch that problem, and you just become a part of it, right? So if it's something that's kind of going out of control, or it's a bigger issue, when you get there, like, you're now in that problem. So your perspective instantly is going to get narrowed. You start to get blinders. Through time and experience, you can open up that aperture and see more. But, you know, naturally in chaos, you're going to touch that problem, you're going to become a part of it, and you're just going to get a little bit of fuzzy around those edges, and you're going to get kind of fixated on that problem and that tactical situation right in front of you, and you lose a little bit of the bigger thing. That's natural, but be able to engage and then disengage so you can get that micro and that macro view of what's going on. Keep analyzing, keep assessing, keep stabilizing, taking action, and moving forward until you get to where you want to get to with your end state or the product or whatever it is you're trying to achieve in life, that you're facing these kind of uncertainties, ambiguity, and possibly a lack of resources and time. Time compression is a huge thing. That changes your perspective. That instantly adds stress on you when you add that time compression to a situation. But anyway, that's my little spiel right there. I'll get back in the boat. It's almost 8 minutes on it. So I'm going to start throwing these videos out here. I'm just going to throw out what I'm saying, and I'm just going to send it onto social media, because trying to edit it doesn't work. And it's the same product, right? It looks like a 6-year-old edited it versus me just sitting up here and talking to you. So I'm going to put this up on Instagram, Facebook. We'll throw some up on YouTube. So definitely share it with people if it's of value. And then, you know, like my pages, like my channel, and then just start making some comments. Let's get some dialogues about these type of things. But have a great day. It's going to be heading into the weekend here in a couple of days. So hope we get some nice weather up here in the upstate South Carolina. Everyone can enjoy their weekend. I'll see you guys later.